It was a bright Sunday afternoon, and the Crescent City Wildcats were playing their rivals, the Baytown Bruisers, in a sold-out stadium packed with 60,000 fans. The energy was electric, the hot dogs were lukewarm, and Steven Seagal, honorary guest and self-declared football sensei, was seated on the 50-yard line in his signature black kimono and aviators. Steven wasn't there to watch football. He was there for the nachos. They got good cheese, he had said earlier while posing for selfies with fans who mostly thought he was just someone's dad. By halftime, Steven had polished off 3 trays of nachos, 2 chili dogs, a large soda, and a questionable burrito sold by a vendor named Rico. As the third quarter began, the Wildcats scored a touchdown and the crowd erupted into cheers. Steven, feeling the pressure from both the excitement and his digestive tract, shifted uncomfortably in his seat. Then it happened. It wasn't just a fart, it was a seismic event. The sound echoed across the stadium like a cannon firing in the Grand Canyon. Conversations stopped. People looked around bewildered. And then the smell hit. "Oh my God!" someone screamed from 3 rows up. "What is that?" "It's like a dumpster fire covered in old cheese," shouted another. Chaos ensued. Fans began fleeing the stands, holding their noses and abandoning their snacks. A man dressed as the Wildcats mascot collapsed dramatically, his foam paw clutching his chest. Even the players on the field paused, helmets tilted upward as if bracing for chemical warfare. Steven remained seated, calm as ever, though his face betrayed a hint of guilt. Finally, he stood, raised his hands, and addressed the panicking crowd. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said in his gravelly voice, "I must admit, that was me. I am the source of the disturbance." The stadium fell silent, save for the distant sound of someone gagging. "But know this," Steven continued, pointing dramatically to the sky. "I did not do this intentionally. This is the result of bad nachos and inferior chili, and I will not let this stand." The crowd, still stunned, watched as Steven did something no one expected. He turned, faced the lingering cloud of his own flatulence, and assumed a fighting stance. The fight of the century. Steven began throwing punches and kicks into the air, his moves oddly graceful, yet entirely ineffective. "You think you can intimidate me?" he shouted at the invisible enemy. Every chop and roundhouse kick was punctuated by Steven shouting things like, "Feel the power of my chai. This is for the Wildcats. You've met your match, foul spirit." The stadium staff, unsure of how to handle the situation, simply let him go at it. Some fans even stopped running to watch, their phones out, filming what would soon become the most viral video of the year. Steven Seagal vs. The Fart. After 10 minutes of flailing and grunting, Steven finally dropped to one knee, sweating profusely. "I've neutralised the threat," he declared, though the stench still lingered. The crowd erupted into applause, not because they believed him, but because they admired his commitment to the bit. As he was escorted out of the stadium by security and a team in hazmat suits, Steven turned to the nearest camera and said, "Let this be a lesson. Even the strongest warriors are vulnerable to bad burritos. But remember, it's not about the fart, it's about the fight." The incident made headlines worldwide. Memes flooded the internet. Steven Seagal, master of martial farts. The fart that cleared a stadium, silent but deadly, not this time. SeaWorld even renamed one of their orca shows the Splash Zone, sponsored by Seagal, though he was too busy filming his latest movie, Fart of Fury, to attend the opening. And while the Wildcats ultimately lost the game, the fans left with a story they'd tell for generations. The day Steven Seagal fought a fart and almost won.